Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are so excited to have Lynn back joining us here today, and it's all about making that authentic love connection. Part of what she does as a transformational coach, as an amazing woman, she can help you with so many different services. Let me have her say hello and introduce herself.
Hello. It is wonderful to be here, and it's so great to be face to face because the last couple times we were on the phone.
It's not as personal. I get to see your beautiful
personal.
face. Yep. I had a little bit of connection issues. We're here in the United States. You're over in the UK, correct? But
no,
by
I'm
the way,
actually in the US as well.
Oh, okay. You are?
California. I'm on the West Coast.
Got it. I'm so sorry, but you work worldwide. We talked about the UK. Yeah, you're in Canada, United Kingdom. That's what I meant. I'm so sorry.
Australia, Europe, all of that.
Yes. All right. Good. Well, let's establish what you do. You help a lot of those people out there. You tell us.
Yeah, so I'm a transformational life coach and I specialize in relationships and dating over 30. So any lady out there who is getting back out into the dating or is currently dating and wants to sort of level up would call me and we would hash things out. You know, what are some of the things that you're struggling with? Is it the dating world? Is it not finding those that you want to date? Is it not having enough quality people? Or are you in a relationship and you just don't know really how to get through or connect on a deeper level? Or like what we're going to talk about today, you might be finding yourself in situationships.
Yes, that's the word, situationships. Yes.
Situationships, right. And I've been happily married for 17 years now. So I've been out of the dating world myself, but have been living it through my clients. And I get it. It's so tough out there. And this term situationship did not even exist back in my days. So I think it's important to define it. You know, what is situationship, right? Like, what do you define it as? And so the simplest way, because I love to simplify things, is basically a relationship that is like a relationship, but it's not defined. And so many of ladies out there are having a really hard time figuring out, like, what are we? And I wanted to share 5 things that you can use to identify whether or not you might be in a situationship versus a relationship.
Yeah.
And so we can dive in if you're ready.
I'm ready. Tell me.
So basically, like I mentioned, if you are not sure what you are, like, okay, is this my boyfriend? Are we boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, are we going to take the relationship to the next level? Yeah. That is the cue that you are sort of in a limbo, right? Like you don't know where you're at. The way I like to explain it is if you're confused, you might be in situationship because you're going through it as if you're in a relationship, you're having the relations, the intimate relations, you're doing things as boyfriend, girlfriend, but there's no definition.
There's no commitment.
There's no commitment. Yeah. So that's the second point where they typically, if you're with someone and they say, well, you know, I'm not really the commitment type. That is your second cue. Clearly, they want the benefits of a girlfriend, but without the commitment. So if you are with someone like that, it is definitely something that you would want to look into in terms of, okay, do you want a relationship? Or are you okay with having these casual hookups?
Encounters, yes.
Encounters and such, right? That's for you to decide, of course.
Okay.
But you know, there's a lot of inconsistency, you know, because they might be off dating other people that you don't know about. And so they're very inconsistent with you. You call them up or they make plans, they cancel it last minute and they don't reschedule, or they just basically treat you like you are, you know, you're someone that is not a priority in their life.
Yeah.
Because those who want you in their life are going to make you one of their top 3. And if you're not, chances are that you are in what's called situationship.
Got it.
Another thing is really what they say, because what we do as women, we tend to want to read between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
We have our own version of what something means, right? Like we go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out the meaning behind the meaning. But in reality, men are very direct. And if they say they don't want commitment, they really don't want commitment. So it's not going to happen if they don't say that they want to be in a relationship with you, that you are exclusive, where you did not have that talk.
Okay.
And
But
then
just curious, when you should have the talk, right?
you should absolutely have the talk
How
if you
quick
want
do you
to
have
be
the talk? I
exclusive.
mean, even on the first date, do you talk about like you want to be in a serious relationship? You don't? Do we bring it up right away?
I mean, if that's what you want, then
Okay.
absolutely.
I feel like why
Absolutely.
waste
Because
time if you don't if you're on the first date, maybe you should say something. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, obviously, you're looking for a committed relationship, right? You're not looking to go out, date, sleep around because you're a high value person.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not going to waste your time in that because time is money, as they say, right?
Time
And so you
is
want
money.
to
Yep.
invest it in the right, um, in the right type of people
Mm-hmm.
that are going to yield something else for you, because relationship is an investment.
Yeah.
It's investment of your time. And if you're a single mom, it's
Ah,
time away from your kids, and I'm sure you can relate,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so all of these things, so it's really assessing, what is this costing me to stay
Mm-hmm.
versus being on my own.
Oh. Ah. Got
But
it.
now the fifth issue, or the fifth cue, is really having the fear of ending it, because the fear of getting back out again, starting over again,
Ah.
having the first date conversations again.
Ah.
And that fear in itself really keeps you trapped and keeps you stuck.
True.
And a lot of us give in because of the investment that we have already made.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, right, you invested your time, you invested your heart, your emotions. Now you're connected, because women connect through intimacy, through sex, if we're allowed to say that here.
Yes, we can say sex. Yes, we can
Okay,
even,
good.
yes.
So, and another thing is really complacency. We get
Mhm.
too comfortable being in that space
Oh. Ah.
because it is easier to control it, right? Because okay, so this is what I can expect. So it's really unpredictable in a way for you, in terms of, okay, what is it gonna look for you long term? But it is predictable on the side of, well, I know him,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what's gonna get him in the mood and what's gonna keep him around, and
Yep.
right. So we kind of tend to manipulate these things,
Uh-huh.
but unfortunately to our own emotional demise,
Yeah.
because then we find ourselves heartbroken,
Uh-huh.
right? Heartbroken, just crying over the fact that, oh my gosh, why did this end? Where
And
all
then
along we
why?
knew that he was not going to be there
Be
for a
the
long
right
haul.
one. Yep.
Yeah. And I wanted to share with you.
Ah.
So I was in a relationship for 9 months, and I tried so hard to hang on what we had,
Mm.
that I didn't really see
What?
that he didn't want to be in it. And
Mm.
so he ended up moving out of the state and completely breaking my heart.
No.
And obviously, I didn't know things that I know
Ah.
now, but I was ready to up and leave with him, follow him there. This is how
How
invested I
dedicated
was.
you were. Mm.
And he wasn't. And we had the whole thing. We had a relationship. We were intimate. We had that emotional connection. But looking back and kind of connecting the dots,
Mm-hmm.
his heart wasn't in it. He was in
Ah.
it because, okay, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to leave anyway, so I might as well just ride it out.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember actually waking up in his arms
Ah.
and him breaking up with me
Ah.
in the bed.
Ah.
So I got up, I walked out of that house, and I was heartbroken. I mean, I couldn't drive. I had to pull over and I was just bawling.
Yeah.
Now
Ah,
looking back, I can see the clues, I can see the red flags that I chose to ignore
yeah.
myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so right now, speaking from this, I want to save you all out there the heartache of going down that road before you are completely shattered,
And making
heartbroken, and just
sure. Yep.
left not believing that love is possible for
Uh-huh.
you. Because so many that come to me are like, Isla, just the love is not in the cards for me. It's just not in the cards for me. I keep
Yeah.
attracting all these men into my life and they're all leaving. And so sometimes I have to be a bit harsh
Yeah.
because, little TLC does not hurt. But
True.
the thing is, stop avoiding the unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
Stop
Stop
avoiding it.
avoiding
And
the
so I wanted to
unavoidable.
pivot into that. So, how to avoid that in the first place?
Beautiful. And let's remind everyone of how we can contact you.
Oh, you can actually connect with me the fastest on IG at authenticlovecoach.com. I'm sorry,
Perfect.
at Authentic Love Coach. And my website is authenticloveconnection.com.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's continue.
Sure. So, how do you avoid slipping into situationships? Get
Mm,
clear what it is you want.
yes. Okay. Okay.
That is the most important step, knowing what it is you want. Do you want to go out and casually date? No problem. Do you want to have someone that you feel comfortable with, but you don't really see yourself within the future? That's up to you to decide. It is not up to me or them. It's for you. And when you decide what it is that you want, if you want a long term relationship, that you need to stay in your integrity.
Okay.
And it means you have to say no to everything that does not align with that, right? Then what is it that you need in your life partner? Get clear on that as well.
Yeah.
Are you open to having a long distance relationship that could potentially lead to something?
Mm-hmm.
See, my husband, he was 3,000 miles away, but he and I chose to invest in our life. So he shut off everything that he had back
Ah,
home and he came to here in the US to be with me so that we can begin our lives together.
wow.
Right. So we have made that decision. I made a decision to make sure that he gets in. So we were the original 90-day fiance couple.
Oh my goodness. You did it
Not on
quick.
TV. This was the
Yes.
before the TV show. But yeah, so he gave up everything for me. And that showed me that I am a priority in his life. And so I was ready to invest whatever it took, even taking a second job, because when he came here, he couldn't work.
Yeah.
So really understanding what is it that you need, what is it that you want, and what is it that you are willing to compromise on, because in relationships there's always compromise, right?
Yeah.
There's always give and take, because you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be only giving, you shouldn't be only taking. It has to be a balance in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting comfortable with that is essential. Then
Mm-hmm.
setting your boundaries. What are your boundaries?
Yeah.
If you're dating someone for 3 to 6 months and you don't see it going anywhere, you need to end it at that mark.
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months is basically the time, like if you're consistent,
Well, it's like the
obviously, if you're
honeymoon
talking, you're
phase,
seeing
right? The
each
first
other.
6 month is usually when, like, yeah, it's really
I mean, to be honest with you, you already know within a month whether or not someone is for you.
okay.
Right. But 3 to 6 months to be realistic in terms of getting to know them. Do they let you into their inner circle? Have you
Yes.
met their
At their
friends? Have
family,
you
their
met their
friends.
family? All of that is important, because what I know to be true about men is that if they don't see you or future with you, they're not going to bring you around their inner circle.
That's right. You're right about that. Got me
So
thinking.
pay attention to that. Is he bringing you around? Is he introducing you as his girlfriend, or is it more as, oh, this is so and so? right?
Oh, this
So
is
pay,
Jill.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
there you go.
Isla. This is
This is
Isla.
Isla, this is Jill, right? And so you can see it, you can sense it. It's just that you really have to be intentional with what it is that you want and understand your patterns. What is it that they do to sweep you off your feet, right? Because how many times have you made a decision to do something and you were swayed completely other way in a different direction, or it's just, oh, I just didn't have time to do that, or I didn't have time to have a conversation. So all of that really is up to you, because you're responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for the trajectory of your future and your relationship. It is not, they're just a part of it. But ultimately, it is your decision. You decide, are you going to stay and invest, or are you actually going to let someone go? Are you getting your needs met in this relationship? Because if you're not, what is the point of staying there thinking, hoping, wishing, wanting?
Oh, I
Right?
know. Yeah.
Because the hardest thing that you can do, or
Oh,
actually what I've felt, is it's feeling alone in a relationship.
yes. Yeah.
Right? So I'd rather be solo than be in a relationship where I'm not being seen, or where I'm not heard, where there's no reciprocal emotional connection.
That's just happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, after 2 years, me and my boyfriend slash fiance just kind of, yeah, his
I'm
needs are not
sorry
being met. I have two
to hear that.
kids, their
Yeah.
priority. It's only so much I could say I don't have enough time for some, but and then he's like, well, you never made the time. I said, well, it was hard to make the time, but he's like, my needs are not being met, and I need someone who's going to be more loving, more affectionate, more around. I said, I get it. As hard as it
Mhm.
is, I love him, miss him. I understand though, because I can't
Yeah.
give you what you need right now. I have to give to myself, to my children first. And the person that comes after that, there's not much left for them. It's not a good place to be. I wouldn't want to be that person either, you know?
That's understandable. Yeah. I mean, it's important to have that talk, right? That honest talk about, because you can love someone and still choose to let them go,
Exactly.
right? They say, okay, the timing is not right. I met my husband when I was 18.
Oh,
And to
wow.
be honest with you, had I stayed with him at that time, I don't think that we would
Wouldn't
have
have
worked out.
worked.
So sometimes it's really the timing. It's also the stage of your life that you're in. You have young kids right now, right? But when your kids are bigger and they're off to, do their own thing, then you're going to have a lot more time to devote to,
Exactly. To
right?
somebody
So
else.
all of
Yeah.
these things. So nothing is lost. It's just that sometimes timing may not be right,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it could be right person, but wrong time.
Right person, wrong time. Yeah.
And it happens all the time, especially in our 30s, 40s, and beyond, because right now our priorities are so different than they were in our 20s.
So true.
Right. And so you have a lot more responsibility, especially with children,
Mm-hmm.
and also deciding who you're going to bring around, right,
My
for them.
children. Yeah.
That's another
Sure.
thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really an individual aspect of looking at sort of a bird's eye view, not just tunnel
Mm-hmm.
vision. And
So right person, wrong time.
right
They could
person,
come
wrong
back if they're
time.
meant to be. They can come back, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like a
Absolutely.
butterfly.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is going to be at their certain stage or phase in their life. Some of us have to grow, right? Some of
Mm-hmm.
us have to grow in our conviction, in our confidence, because a lot of times we stay in these relationships because we may not be confident enough to be out there on our own.
Yeah.
So we use these situationships as crutches, right? Like to get us through. And maybe things are going to change. And maybe, I'm going to feel a certain way about this person, or they're going to feel a certain way about me, or they're going to have a change of heart. And so we go down this rabbit hole of excuses that are just keeping us trapped. And all along, it was actually us that need to do the work. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress that comes with relationships as well, because as adults, we have other obligations.
Yeah.
And so really finding the person who is going to meet you in the middle is going to take time. You're going to have to sift through different people. You're going to go through different experiences. That's the beauty of the whole dating world, right? I mean, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
And exposing yourself to different experiences, to a variety of flavors, as I like to say it, then you get to know yourself as well. Right? Sometimes when you're confined in a situationship, you don't see the broad view. But sometimes breakups can actually be good too for you, where you actually can have a clear vision of what it is that you want to do.
Yeah, well, we
and so they're not always bad. I mean, yes, they're heartbreaking because here you are, you've invested so much in the person, your heart is in it, your emotions are in it. They've met your family, like in your case. I mean, you had a plan for your future, right? And now that vision is poof, gone, right? So now you're going through the grieving stage of that vision of yours. I'm sorry.
No,
I just want to give you a hug.
Thank you. It's okay. We all go through it, right?
And, all you can do is take it one day at a time.
Thank you. So see, Isla deals with people like me all the time. We're emotional, but it's good to know we're not alone and we'll get through it. Thanks to you and your guidance and support. And I apologize, but we're out of time. So we got to sum it up if you don't mind, and then we'll talk about how we get to talk to you again and how people can reach
connect
out.
with me on IG at Authentic Love Coach. There is a link and it's going to lead you everywhere from there on out. So click on that, or you can send me a text 949-243-0553.
Awesome.
0553.
And one more time, the website?
It's AuthenticLoveConnection.com, but it's in works right now. So the best is IG.
Perfect. Go to Instagram, guys. Thank you again, Isla. Pleasure having you here.
Jill. Best
Sorry
of
we
luck.
had an issue connecting, but hopefully it'll be better next time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.